Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Gift of Gaming podcast. It's been the first weekend since we've had Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I'm sitting with Craig to break down our first impressions. It's me, your host, Darren Wade, and I'm joined today by none other than Craig, the Critical Nolan. Craig, how are you?
How you doing, Darren? I'm good, thank you.
I'm fantastic, Craig. We've had a weekend's worth of playing some.
I've had 3 weekends worth of playing some
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy Rebirth. Yeah.
Of course, because you got your extra days off.
Yeah. I booked 4 days on top of the weekend just to play, and I have barely scratched the surface of this game. I'm 6 days in.
Yeah, I was listening to there's a group called PlayStation Access. I used to listen to them years ago. I can't believe they're still around, actually. Great that they are. Mm-hmm. But your man Rob, I was only watching an episode today. He's playing through the original OG Final Fantasy VII with one of the guys from the company who's never played it before, like OG7. So nice. They're doing a playthrough, and it's all quite fun or whatever. But he was saying he's 90 hours into the game, and
into
the game
Final Fantasy VII
into Rebirth, yeah.
Oh, Rebirth. Okay,
Rebirth,
yeah,
90 hours into Rebirth, and the game has told him he is, story-wise, 88% complete.
Okay. Cool.
90 hours, and he's still got 12% worth of
that worked because I'm 40 hours in, and it says 40% to me.
It's crazy.
It's like
man.
On the nose.
A game is huge. I think I'm a little bit short on time. I think, so just for this episode, we're not doing this. This isn't a full review of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or anything like that, because we are still a good...
I'm going to play through it at least twice before I'm going to give a final verdict on that.
Yeah, we're about... I think you said you were 40 hours in, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm 32-ish hours in there or abouts. We're at the same point story-wise, but I think you've probably done a lot more open world stuff than I
repeated a lot of like mini games out of frustration until I got that time magic.
No, but it's not going to be a full review. There will be spoilers. We're going to be talking about certain scenes and things like that. But this episode is mostly just a kind of a first impressions from our perspective of like how have we found it? Have we been enjoying it?
Yeah, that seems fair, right? Yeah.
That seems reasonable. Yeah, absolutely. So where to start?
Where
to start? The game thankfully graced our presence on the 29th. You and me were both there at midnight.
Yep. A part of me, even at 11 o'clock, I was like, if I just start the demo now, then at 12, I can continue on the demo. Like I was trying to cheat to get an extra hour in, you know?
Yeah.
But thankfully I didn't do that, because the game, even if you have played the demo, you have to do like a bit of the demo before it lets you skip. So I don't think it would have transitioned that well. Like, you can't skip the full demo.
Our mate Niall was quite disappointed because he was saying, "Oh, I'm not going to play that." We were chatting to him. He was like, "I'm not going to play the demo again. I'm going to skip it." And he was messaging me when he first settled down to play it, and he was like, "Can I not skip this demo?" And I was like, "No, you have to go a good bit through the actual opening chapter before."
Which you could do really quickly if you just ran through, like, you know.
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
I stop and talk to everyone, you know.
So, God, the game opens up, and it doesn't open up as the demo opens up. We get a brand new piece and hats off to developers for keeping all this under wraps up until this point, because the opening of the game was not what we thought was the Nibelheim flashback.
But it was still contained a lot of sscenes we'd seen already. Like,
a lot of CG.
We just didn't
stuff.
know where in the story it was. Yeah.
So we got our first little taste of Zack. I think that's probably the bit on our, at least before we do our full games review, we'll stay away from what we think is the alternate timeline, because that's what no one's going to know anything about. So we won't mention anything about what happens in the Zack timeline. So we haven't gotten a huge amount of that up to this point in the game.
Even 40 hours in, there's been very few scenes with them. But I mean, it should be noted, at least going forward, that there are definitely 2 timelines, you know, at this point. Like, you know, a lot of people at the end of the first one were like, "Oh wait, did we merge into one?"
And they even throw a couple of red herrings to make you think that this is one timeline. But I
don't think so, because they show Stamp a lot throughout the beginning of both sections.
They show Stamp, and they show, so in each one, I have seen both dogs. I've seen both the dogs to represent the 2 timelines. But what's interesting is when Zack arrives and he sees the TV telling him all about the what's happened, the tornado, blah blah blah.
At the very beginning of the game.
The very beginning of the game. We also then, when we arrive in Calm, we're in the inn in Calm. There's a radio message that's saying the exact same thing, which a lot of people, I think, there's online being like, "Oh, does that mean?" That's the same radio thing.
It's still pretty much the same thing that happened, because Cloud and the gang were going through.
They just got out of it, as opposed to the other team that didn't. Yeah. So I've got a couple of headings here, Craig, and I guess it being the part of Final Fantasy VII that is about the journey, the open world, what better way to start off than with the world map? Has it met your expectations?
It has drastically exceeded my expectations. I can't believe how much there was just between Calm and the swamp. You know, I thought that would be a 10-minute walk, you know, or like just 10 minutes of fight a couple of random encounters and then you're at the swamp, you know?
Yeah.
Like you could get from, in the original game, you could get from Calm to Junon in less than an hour.
Yeah.
Like that is impossible in this game.
Yeah.
It took me at least 10, you know? Like the way they filled it out. And what I loved about it as well is like you leave Calm and then like the whole world map opens up. But if you go out the front door of Calm, you have a whole other section between Calm and Midgard that you had skipped, but you can totally go back to.
Yeah,
you know,
you've got the road in that you can
the
just
highway that you came on initially.
Which reminds me a little bit of Final Fantasy 15 did something slightly similar where you're pushing the car at the very start of that game, and that whole section you can actually revisit. Now, don't get me wrong, it's very different games. It's
very, very
there's
different.
nothing to see in that world. Whereas this one, it is so vibrant. I cannot get over even now just the size of the game.
Yeah, it's massive,
fucking huge.
But with the amount of detail that's in it, it's shocking that they did. Because I mean, Midgard, the first part of the game, you know, there's so much detail that like they put all of their assets into that, and there's fuck all left over, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, I can't believe how much world there is.
Yeah.
Yet the world is still like, it doesn't feel like just random boulders and stuff like that. Like they've carved out specific landscapes and everything like that, you know. And there's more lore to it and stuff. And like the grasslands that have been carved out by Titan. That's why they're kind of jagged and stuff like that.
The lore has been... Kevin was laughing at me as well. I was on a chat catching up with him over the weekend, and he was laughing at me because he knows that's the kind of shit that I get bed into.
I love that stuff as well.
He was like, dude, you must be having the time of your life, because the stuff with Titan in the grasslands, and then you go from the grasslands open world area, you go through, as you said, the swamp into the mines, and then you go into the Junon, and Junon has like the old Republic of Junon, and how there was a big city, like a floating city for a while. All that kind of stuff.
It was great, the fact that they spoke so much about what Junon was, and I was like,
prior to
holy
Shinra.
Shit, there's going to be more with this, you know. But what was crazy is when you arrive in Junon, like your objective, like you arrive in the region, and that Junon Harbor is only like 200 meters in front of you. But if you turn and go left, it goes for miles.
Yeah,
like,
the other way.
The other way.
Because
exact
the demo
opposite direction you're supposed to go.
That was quite clever bit the demo, because I remember even when like Maximilian Dude, who we all watch he's a big YouTuber for fighting games and Final Fantasy games, but the first time he showed the clips of that when he got to play it at whatever event, that demo thing, and this was last year. He thought it was just that area in the demo, and it didn't expand much further than that because you couldn't zoom out on the map. Yeah. And he, even with that alone, he was like, "This is great. It's quite big. It's so big." And it's like, that is nothing compared to what we're actually given in the game.
It's just one region. You know?
It's just, and it's insane how long it goes on for. So, like, I mean, the world map is amazing in this, in that it has exactly what the original one did. You've got your open world, your dungeons, and your towns, like a classic top-down RPG style way to do it. But everything is like dialed up to 200.
But I mean, even in the original game, you had like, all right, there's a little town, and it was just all grass, and then the next town. Whereas this has battered roads with weeds growing out of them. It has old signposts and things like that. Like the detail, even in the overworld, is massive. Like, you know,
huge.
And even traversing the world is so fun because the game is quite forgiving with the whole like what you can and can't jump up.
Yeah.
Generally, if it's like 10 feet or lower, you can easily just hop up it, no problem. Like, you know,
and that's been quite a nice.
It has been very helpful to traverse because, you know, it's kind of
the world is way more vertical than I expected it to be.
A lot more vertical, but I think it's great because it's carved out in this cool fashion, you know, that like it's supposed to have been raised by Titan himself, like, you know, and then there's the lore surrounding Titan, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That's why it looks so jagged.
Yeah, they have like Final Fantasy 7 OG 1997 is a fantastic game in and of itself.
Even now, like I played it a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
you can go back and have a great time playing.
Still plays now. This game in terms
and
of
it's the same game.
Yeah.
Just more.
Just so
like you can
much
play
more.
Rebirth and like it's still FF7. You still just choose fire to use on the bad guy, and it might be weak to him. Like, you know, all of those things are still in the game, except you can do so much more, and it looks amazing.
It's it's finally, like, I mean, I know they used Unreal Engine 4, not Unreal Engine 5, as they were kind of touting that they were going to. And that, I mean, you and me chatted about it before. One time there was loads of problems with Unreal Engine 5. Even still, game looks
and like
the
main reason I wanted Unreal 5 is because I just like the whole more NPCs. I like a town to feel like it's being lived in.
Yeah.
You know the way like you always walk into a bar and there's always like 5 NPCs max, and I'm like, what kind of bar could survive with this? You know,
Yeah.
like it's always unrealistic. But then there's that scene in Junon where you're doing the card tournaments you did. And then when you get out after the final win, there's about 100 people surrounding you. Like even in Junon, where the president is coming for his inauguration, there must be 1,000 NPCs on the screen, like
which is amazing to see.
We're all rendered, like, you know.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it, like, you know. So they're obviously pushing Unreal 4 to to new heights.
Yeah,
because I didn't think it could do that.
And it's the great thing that we get it. That's what I mean. I think I had this conversation with Kev before he went off to New Zealand. I was like, God, I've waited for this for so long. You know, this remake. Thank God we got it now, because graphics and consoles are so good right now. Like imagine we got it on the PS3. You know, imagine we got it on the PS3 when everyone demanded it, and it would have been a whole different concept, you know, to what it is now. But speaking of the open world, so like we know like massive areas, beautifully detailed, living as well, because that's what, when we look back at 16 had kind of smaller open world areas, very empty for the most part.
Very, very empty.
And then you go back to 15, which was just like that world was dead. There was nothing going on.
Yeah, there's the 2 towns, and then they just generic open world with nothing to do.
Whereas this, like the open world's organic in how it's been made, because even in, I did a quest the other day in the kind of Junon region, and someone's like, oh, follow Sam and the dog to the crow's nest.
The crow's nest, yeah.
And it brings you on such a beautiful path.
Yeah,
but
really,
things
really nice.
happened organically. Like while I was doing that, there's a tower I have to go and check out. Oh, there's a bus stop. I better go pull up the bus stop there. Oh, there's an enemy. I'll fight him. All the while, just me following the dog.
Taking so many little shortcuts.
And it's so alive and so organic, and it just feels like, I'm like, it's definitely like a living, breathing world, which was my worry that they wouldn't be able to achieve that. I was like 15 possibly, or like, you know, maybe 16 the wider world areas, but it's crazy.
But it's so much more than that, yeah, because it just seems like anytime a specific story event happens, all the NPCs around get brand new dialogue, and like, so when you're running by, like, the stuff that they're saying just makes it feel more alive, because they're commenting on what's happening, or you know, who's scared of something, and like just hearing that just adds so much to the game. Like that's why I'm 40 hours in, because I've listened to every NPC's dialogue, and some of the stuff is really good. Like they'll have just this little small conversation that you'll just be like, I can't believe it, like with little jokes and
they
that.
changed, like, so like with in Com there was a side quest to go check out why the mercenary hadn't repaired the pipe, and they were worried about a Mako or a crisis in the town, and they'd have to go into the reserves. And there's people crowding around the present, and like when you walk by them, they're all like, "Oh, what's with the Mako?" Like all giving out about it. You do it and you come back. And while I was walking through, someone says, "Oh, I'm glad that was solved. I was getting worried about the electricity there for a while." And I was like, God, the amount of effort that's been put into this, like, you know.
But like it's all, because usually I'm so used to, particularly in RPGs, all the NPCs are standing there completely still and never move ever in the game, you know? Or never update what they're saying, never do anything. But in this, they're saying things, they're doing things.
And we laughed about Remake as well. There were certain scenes where like the same guy was in the same cutscene in 3 different places. Like that's how few people they had to work with. But this is so, like, I mean, let's take the place where we start off, Com. Like as a town. I
was so excited about, like, because you know they're telling the story in the inn. Yeah. Just walking downstairs as Cloud, I was like, "What am I? What's going to be down here?" Yeah. You know, I was so
what am I about to walk into?
To like walk out into the sunshine and see what the town looked like.
Yeah,
know?
Yeah.
Oh God, it was just one of those moments.
And it's the town itself, and that's.
But Com looked great.
It did,
and not only was there a lot of detail, but so much extra that I didn't think they would do. Because usually I'm like, okay, every bench is going to look the same, every vendor is going to look the same. But I mean, you go over and there's a guy selling ice cream, and on the picture behind him is a bomb holding an ice cream. Not a bomb with sunglasses.
Yeah.
So like they've incorporated so much of the Final Fantasy world into the world, you know. There was this girl talking about her cat, and behind her another girl was like, yeah, my character doesn't do any of those things, and her character is just kind of like manically running around behind her, like. And I was like, this is a great conversation, like, you know, comparing cats to characters. I was like, this is really, really good, like, you know.
Yeah, they've captured the essence of the world as a whole in it. So from like Com was an amazing, like, even for me, was walking around, amazing city, beautiful, and designed in such a way that I was like, yeah, I was like, I wouldn't mind living here. Like this is a pretty cool place. But then you leave Com and you finally step out into the open world. Speaking of which, and this is what I love about them, just expanding on almost every beat in the original game. So there's a game, you go to Com, Cloud tells the story. And what better, find Sephiroth and you leave Com off on your way to, Chocobo Bill or crossing the swamp. That's it. This time in Com, everyone's just enjoying themselves in the town. Cloud and Earth go for a date. And then lo and behold, Shinra's still looking for the eco-terrorists who they believe caused a fucking tornado that's demolished half the city. So they send in, and it's such a cool scene. Like you're in the clock tower.
Big massive fucking flying ships overhead, dropping
all the Shinra troops, and you've got to make your escape. And that's kind of how you're introduced to the open world, is that you get out secretly without getting caught, and boom, now you got to explore the open world, and you can't go back to Com for a while. But it reminds me of when my favorite chapter in the remake is chapter 15. It's where you're climbing the wall, which
okay.
I just think in terms of musically and everything like that, it's
you must have loved when very, very recently that you got to fight that exact same bad guy with that exact same music. That was because every boss so far except that boss has been really unique and new. Yeah. And with that one, they recycled the boss from the first game. Well, they gave him a flamethrower.
Gave him the same music again. The same music. I was so excited for that because it came back. It was one of my favorite tunes. But yeah, it was just the idea that I've completely lost my. I'm so excited about this game. I completely lost my train of thought.
The open world, as you were saying, and I love because once it puts you outside Com for the first time, you can go anywhere. And I didn't know what I was going to find. I didn't know what was out there. So I was just kind of going off in random directions and coming across these little farmlands and stuff like that. And I was shocked that there were rabbits everywhere. There were deers. There were cows. There were these little badgery things that looked quite cute. I don't know what the fuck they were. They were a different kind of species. But there's so much. There's a lot of wildlife that isn't carnivorous or monsters.
Did you get the little bit of dialogue about the deer when you were walking around the open world?
I can't remember.
I got a fun little piece of dialogue where I was running past the deer and Tifa was like, "Oh, do you think it's safe?" Because all you're doing is fighting everything you come across. And then Cloud says something like, "Hasn't attacked us yet, so I think we're..." So even that little bit of like their interaction with the world around them as well has been just been so good.
There were so many deer on the Nibelheim trail. Like, what is she, a fucking idiot?
She doesn't know the games. Obviously didn't think about that.
These are new deer.
But we go to our first, then from Com we go to what is essentially Chocobo Bill's ranch. We go down to the swamp. They tell us to go into the swamp. We realize the classic thing, can't cross the swamp, the snake's in there.
Guard's armor.
And then we go down to, or we go back up to Chocobo Bill's ranch. And I have to say, and this is what I said to Kev when I was catching up with him, you do side quests for his grandkids, Chloe and Billy or whatever. I loved their little story. Like you had to go gather the flowers for her,
which was then an Aerith side quest.
Side quest
because she's the flower girl, and helps you pick out the different one. I can't remember what his one was.
I don't think he. Oh, his one was just to catch the Chocobo.
Okay,
which was the full team one. But what I love about that was that was such a heartfelt storyline, and it was such a lovely little ending, and the two siblings getting on really well.
Talking and then about their dead parents.
And I was like, God, it's all very sad, and like Chocobo Sam has something to do with it, and we don't know what it is. And then what I thought was amazing was I actually went up onto my phone and I went in to look for a screenshot of the ranch, like the inside of the ranch where you do all the Chocobo breeding and stuff like that in the OG game. And I was like, they have made all of these amazing quests from this one still spot with like these two crappy looking NPCs. One sells you Chocobo lure, the other just sells you random shit, and that's all they do. And I was like, they've every single character they've just put a brand new breath of life into that I just cannot get over.
They've done such a great job with that. It's so surreal. And then like as soon as you like get saddled up with the Chocobo, Chadley comes out and then just unlocks everything for you. You know. And you're like, oh my God, now I get to do all this extra fun stuff that's in the world that I had no idea was there.
I suppose because we've we can go back to certain bits of the open world, but speaking about that bit with Chadley, my next kind of question for you was just pure content. There is non-stop shit to do in this game all the time. All of the time.
So much to get, so much to do, and I'm delighted that they didn't give you all of your material from the last game. Because getting it all again.
And leveling it up is so satisfying.
It's just, especially because the amount of VR missions Chadley gives you right out the gate to unlock all these materials is like crazy. Like you get loads.
Yeah, and it's fun as well. I love the it was a cool touch where with Chadley, the first time you go speak to him, and it's there all the time, but when you first speak to him, and it's everybody's training mission essentially to kind of learn how to use each character.
Which is very useful because there's been some changes to each character, yeah.
And I love the touch of the music. The individual music for each one was so good.
I didn't know you were going to say that, but yes, because I couldn't believe, like Eric, when I was doing Eric's thing, her theme from when her and Tifa teamed up to take out Corneo's thugs. Remember, she hits him over the head with the chair?
Yeah.
It's like, like it's just, like and everyone had their own theme, and like Tifa had her theme from when she was doing the monkey bars in the Shinra building. I was like, brilliant.
Cloud's got the battle theme, and then you do one with Cloud and Barrett, and it's like the avalanche.
Has the bombing mission.
Yeah, the bombing mission, the avalanche theme almost. Yeah, like the bombing mission theme, and it's just such a. I knew right, and then you play as, of course, Red has Cosmo Canyon playing when you fight.
Yeah, I was like, I played the other four, and I was like, what's this one gonna sound like? And it's like, din 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 din,
and
din din din.
And I was kind of sitting there being like, I am in for such a treat with this game. It's that attention to detail so early on where I kind of said, these guys have really loved making this game. But I guess content wise, you've got like you've got your VR missions, the VR challenges with Chadley. You've got the open world stuff. So there's a couple of things, and just nonstop. You've got like kind of the open world areas to visit, like the life springs, the towers, all that kind of stuff.
What's great about the traversal as well, I mean, it always annoyed me in most games where, you know, when you're riding on your horse or whatever, that like you had to hop off to pick things up.
Oh yeah.
In this game, when you're, no matter how fast you're going on Chocobo, if you just hit triangle as you were like passing something, you'll pick it up and you'll pick everything up in one go.
Like,
you know?
It's funny because you've been like, it must be such a nice contrast for you, because what I've laughed at about you the last week is that you were looking for something to play in the interim while you're waiting for this game to come out, and you decided to play Death Stranding. Yeah. The difference in vibrancy and like ease of use and just pure entertainment between both those games must be huge.
It is massive. Like, yeah. Death Stranding is all about punishing you for those little things, you know. And like in Final Fantasy, they're just like, no, we just want to make it as easy as possible,
just have
so you
fun.
can just get on with it.
Have fun with it.
Like your Chocobo even had these deadly animations where, like, do you know when you're picking up the bus stop, like he gets in with his claws and picks it up. Yeah. I'm like, oh god, that's
actually
so
funny.
Good.
I haven't picked up a sign with a Chocobo yet.
I do that all the time.
I've only done it with Cloud. I've only done it with Cloud because I do it and then I pat the little Chocobo on
the head. I usually get off the Chocobo to like hug the little Chocobo and like stroke his cheeks, which you can do, you know, which is a lot of fun too.
So we go from the couple of places to see, and I won't go into too much detail on all the places, but they're all great parts to help this living, breathing world. I guess is the life springs you visit, the fights that you can get into, like the special fiends and everything like that. They're all great.
I love it's almost like Jurassic World or something like that. That AI voice like tells you about them and stuff like that, and she has her little like spiel with Chadley about how these monsters came into creation.
I just stand there and listen to it all.
I do as well. Like, you know, I love hearing it.
Yeah, so good.
Just for that extra just info, I'm just like, just give me anything. You know
I will digest all of this. Going on to, I suppose, content-wise, we've got mini games that were introduced to in the game very early on. One of the ones I was most excited about was Queen's Blood.
That has not disappointed. The first game, the tutorial, I was like, oh shit, I don't know how I feel about this because I just didn't get it. Yeah. But having played it a lot now and done the tournament, I'm like, okay, no, there's a lot more strategy to this.
It's so good. It's so good. I don't know if I sent a message to Kev and he laughed so much when I said it to him, but I said to him, this game is perfect, and he was like, why? And I says, did you know that? Because I mean, you guys all know me as the triple triad fanatic from Final Fantasy VIII, and I was so excited about this card game. There's an NPC that you challenged in Junon. Now he's only a kid, but his name is Darren. I was like, yes, there's an NPC called Darren and all they do is play Queen's Blood. I was like, that'd be me if I was in the game for sure, you know.
It's great that most NPCs who play Queen's Blood have something weird going on, like
the first guy
they're
you
never
come
just
across.
sitting there. There's this girl who's like a recluse and she's like surrounded in a box fort or something.
Yeah.
Like we both just arrived at Coral, and there's a guy just fucking levitating.
And I couldn't challenge him yet. Were you able to challenge him?
You are not powerful enough to
but they've made it all like, and that's what I mean. They've made a lot of things wacky. I think I said to you just before the podcast. I get a lot of Yakuza vibes from this game.
Yes.
It's like they do not take any of the minigame stuff seriously whatsoever to its benefit. To be like, we're just going to have loads of fun with this. And they've made the right decision on all of them as far as I can tell, because with Queen's Blood, all the characters that I challenged so far have been quite unique. Like there was the guy Ned at the beginning who was just crying and saying he loves to play Queen's Blood because it lets him cry and he loves to have a cry. And I was like, this is so entertaining. Listen to all these characters.
It's so wacky that like you're just constantly like enjoying it just because I've never heard people talk like this. Or behave in this manner.
And it's just so much fun. And the game itself, strategy-wise, is like there's a lot to it. And I was
big time.
And like you, when I was playing the tutorial, I was like, oh God, this doesn't seem. But now that I've gotten a good collection of cards, and you can style a certain strategy to the way you want to play, it's been fun. And like as a card collector, like when I realized
stuff a lot,
like Choco,
and just like Final Fantasy VIII, there seems to be the really rare cards.
Yes, like the Choco-Mog, the summons.
Yes,
the moment the Choco-Mog came up, it was a quest to get this Choco-Mog card, which is the summon. And I was like, the moment I realized that you could collect the summons in card form, I was like, this game is.
I only
just
have
perfect.
a couple of them now, but they are OP as fuck. Like the Titan one in particular,
He's
is
great.
so powerful.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
But I hope there is a card, because there's a lot of monsters in this game. Unlike the last game, had very few. Like you must have fought the sweeper like fucking 20 times.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, there's a lot of different monsters constantly
variety,
popping up. And each time I see a new monster, I'm like, oh, I wonder what his card's gonna be.
Yeah. So that one's great. God, what other mini games? There's been so many.
Okay, so one I have to mention is, because I love that, although this is a mini game, it does seem to incorporate into the world a little bit, and it's that one in Junon, whereas there's all this pink smog, and you go down there, and basically the smog is the stuff that turns you into a toad.
Yes.
And so all the kids are hanging out there and turning themselves into toads on purpose to like play.
that mini game was actually, that was the only one.
That was really fun.
It was fun. I couldn't get the
you
gold.
get to play as a frog, and then you're just fighting bad guys.
And it was like, so you fight the bad guys, then it turns into almost like a Fall Guys elimination game where you have to jump over the bars that are spinning at you.
Yes, yeah.
And I found that was like crazy fun, but I was like, I can't believe it's, Toad Cloud and Toad Tifa stuck in this.
I love looking back to see how everyone else was doing.
Yeah. So you see what they're up to.
They all go in with you. It's just so fun.
And they keep coming up out of nowhere. I go into a scene and it becomes a mini game, and I'm like, oh, that was a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah. Like you didn't see that coming. Like
like when you go to Costa del Sol is just a mini game place by itself. Like there's the pirate ship
Costa del
one.
Sol has more mini games than the original Gold Saucer. Like I couldn't believe how many.
And you and I haven't even gotten to the Gold Saucer yet, which is the house of mini games.
Yeah. And I played at least a dozen great mini games already.
Yeah.
Without getting the Gold Saucer.
Even
that one that was just like what was that? The remote control cars, the football game. You have that with Nanaki.
With Red 13. Rocket League, essentially.
Yeah, it was Rocket League, but with Red 13. Yeah. I was like, this is incredible. That could be a whole game by itself.
Whole mini game in itself.
Like the enemy, like you've enemies on north, south, east, and west. So
like a 4-man free-for-all.
It's a 4-man free-for-all football game. I was like, this could be an excellent multiplayer mode, just by itself.
Yeah, so much. But God, like there's so many. There, Fort Condor. Did you do the Fort Condor quests?
So that's I've 100% did every region so far, except in Junon, because I could not do the Fort Condor battles. I don't know what it is. They're just way too hard for me, and I don't get the strategy. I always deploy like the unit that the enemy is weak to. Yeah. But they just seem to spawn like 3 units for every one that I can spawn.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
And I'm just like, how am I getting wrecked every single time?
Because that was a great little cutscene in and of the game. It's like completing that had a great little moment as well at the end.
Again, and it's one of those cases where like it's almost like a dream. Like, did that even happen? Because it's so wacky and weird, but it's brilliant. Like,
and like the thing I love about the Fort Condor stuff is that it's a real hark back to OG7. The fact that you get to see Cloud, Tifa, and Barrett in this board game in the exact polygon kind of graphics that were in OG7.
But they still look great.
They look fantastic. I'd play like if they were willing to remaster all of the original Final Fantasy VII without all the no more bullshit we're going to get in this recreation. If they were to remake the game and have the characters looking like they did in Fort Condor, I just do it like that. It'd be great.
I mean, I wouldn't, but I'd enjoy it for about an hour.
and then you're done.
And I'd like, I want to go back to how it looks proper.
So mini games, tons of. We could keep going with that, but we are flying through our time here. And this,
I thought this would be a really short one. What's on the clock
Well,
there?
we're hitting half an hour almost.
Okay.
But like we've barely scratched the surface of what we've achieved so far.
I thought this would be really short. The Chocobos, okay. Like,
let's get down to it.
Not only is it great riding Chocobos, but there must be about 10 different Chocobo songs per one per region, and sometimes they come on and sometimes they don't. It's like if you were halfway through a really good song, the game knows that it'll let you continue that song.
So interestingly enough, I think I heard someone say, I read it on Reddit, but I don't know if it's true or not, but they say that as you complete intel for the world, so the closer you come to actually, let's say 100%ing the grasslands, the brighter the world map and Chocobo music gets. as in like the happier it gets. So that it's like you're comfortable here. Do you know what I mean? And it's a happy open world music and stuff.
That
So
would make sense.
That's why it keeps changing.
Whenever I hop on the Chocobo, there's so many different versions of that Chocobo song. Especially
and
the choral region, I was like, man, this is so different. But I love it.
That's sort of thing I want to talk about in terms of one of the things I have down here is kind of the storyline of the game so far, and where we think it's going. How have you found it telling the original OG7 story?
The original OG7 game is almost intact still, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Other than
with
what
a few
Yuffie
caveats
did in Junon, I think the game is gone.
Which I think, I
almost don't want to say that because that is a kind of big spoiler.
It is, and we won't say it, but the Yuffie thing changes. Yuffie doesn't join your team by you bumping into her in a forest anymore. Yeah. It's a very, I actually think a really well developed storyline, and one that I thoroughly enjoyed when I was playing through.
When she did join up, that sequence in Costa del Sol was just fantastic.
So good.
You know? Everything with Costa del Sol was amazing.
The dynamic, what I love about the kind of the story and the building of the story, and where it's just far superior, and of course because it's modern day, but it's far superior in terms of character development. Like all of these guys are getting along in their own way. Yeah. Like I love that I have Yuffie on the team now as well. I kind of just got Yuffie around the same time as you.
For me, she still very much feels like an outsider though still. I mean, I love that she's joined and they're giving her a lot of screen time and she's quite bubbly and she's always at the forefront of things. But I'm still like, hey, come on, you're the new kid. Like so she hasn't built that kind of rapport with all the characters just yet, but I'm sure she will over time. What
was fun for me was that instead of 100%ing Junon, I thought, because we played the demo, and in the demo, at the very end of the demo, you get to see you didn't play the demo,
no, I didn't. I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah. So with the Junon demo, you see Yuffie come in on the boat like you do in the actual main game, and I kind of thought, this must be where Yuffie joins your team. So rather than complete everything in Junon and then go into that point where you get Yuffie, I was like, because I knew she was there, I was like, well, I'll save everything in Junon, get Yuffie on my team, get all her materia, and go back out in 100% the open world with her on the team. Yeah. Now, she didn't fucking arrive on the team for fucking ages after that. I had to do Upper Junon, Costa del Sol before she ever joined the team. But I went back and did Junon before I went to Corel, where we both are now. But she feels totally bedded into the team for me because as I was exploring places, she was, even though it was like Junon and maybe she's not meant to be there. But when I went into a live stream, she was she was on my team. She was like, are we going to scan this or whatever? So she feels like a real part of the crew for me now because I've done so much of the open world with her. Like, you know,
that's pretty good. We were talking about Junon, but the Cloud being the squad captain, what did you think of that?
That was one of the most... Craig, I sat here at about 2 a.m. playing through the whole Junon section. I could not go to bed.
I played that really late too.
I could not go to bed because it was
stop until I was on the boat to Costa del Sol.
It was so much fun. I was literally here by myself laughing, like proper laughing out loud at certain scenes. I collected all the units.
Yeah. Me too. And it took me after I had 3, I was like, that must be most of them. And it was like 3 out of 10. I was like, holy crap, I thought I'd been everywhere.
Yeah.
But I was scouring Junon for what seemed like hours trying to get everybody.
Yeah.
And the more I got, because I saw it was get up to 5 units. But when they say units, they mean groups of sometimes
troops.
There'll be 10 people per unit.
This is where the game, and for those of you who are wondering what you're talking about, what we're talking about, when you go to Junon, the characters disguise themselves as Shinra soldiers, and Cloud gets himself into a situation where he's so good at being a Shinra soldier, they promote him to a captain, and now he's got to get his own crew to do the president's parade.
And in the OG game, it's just him and 2 soldiers, just kind of doing a little formation sequence for maybe 30 seconds.
This is you
get
thing.
50 squad members to do these massively intricate displays.
Yeah.
It's like Cirque du Soleil shit, but with different squads.
Did you?
I did all 3 hardest ones I could do.
Yeah, same. And did you get the commendation thing as well at the end?
I don't know if I missed a few, but I got good scores each time, and I did get the commendation. But because there's a scene where
it almost feels like you're meant to get the commendation
I think
or something like that.
Meant to, right?
So there's 2 awards given. There's the commendation, which I think is probably story locked to be given to your team. Yeah. But there's the award for the best group in the parade.
Okay,
Did you win
I
that
didn't
one?
Get that.
I got that one, and
so you got the 2 in a row.
I got 2 awards in a row.
Oh,
for my team.
Okay.
It was great because Roach is there, the motorbike guy, and
I know because
he's with the
his
motorbike.
Team won.
So I beat him, and he was devastated. The cutscenes I got, him and his crew were devastated. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, and this is I want to talk about this part of the game as well, because you do Junon, which kind of has there's a serious kind of undertones of the story, but for the most part, I'm having a blast. The characters are having a blast. And then you take the ship over to Costa del Sol, which in its own way is very entertaining. You've got that
it's
one...
a luxury cruise. Everyone's like on holiday.
Yeah.
There's just great vibes throughout the boat.
And that bit in itself there's a lot of fun there. We get a very serious kind of like Genova bit with Sephiroth, which has to be dealt with. And then immediately you're back up to let's all have fun in Costa del Sol. And it's goofy.
Come on, there's the card tournament as well.
Oh, on the ship.
Not only are you like competing against their players, but there's a guy doing commentary about the other battles that are happening. And it's so good just to see like Barrett square off with Chadley or Tifa and Eretz going at it. And you're like, oh, who's going to win? Like,
yeah. And that's what I mean in terms of like the level of detail put into all these things. And we're just all having so much fun. And Costa del Sol, and we should probably leave that Costa del Sol as a place until we're actually doing our review, because there's so much I could talk about there. Right. But that's so much fun. And then finally you leave there to make your way up to Corel. And as you and me know in the main story, stuff's about to get a bit dark here and all that kind of stuff. Yep. What I thought was amazing with the game, I was sitting there with headphones. I just done Costa del Sol, big grin on my face. That was so much fun. I get on my rented Chocobo and walk out into the Corel region, and everything changed. Like the music for me going out in the Chocobo was not sinister, amazing music still, but like music is
tropical.
In like not everything is okay.
Oh,
like,
really?
like it was atmospheric in a way that wasn't like, hey, Costa del Sol, how's everybody doing? It was like, oh, I still have a job to do here. It kind of really brought me down to
felt
earth.
Well, maybe because I hopped on the Chocobo, but I felt like the music immediately after Costa del Sol was lovely and tropical and like.
So were you riding around in the Chocobo? Were you?
Oh, big time.
So yeah, when
I purchased the costume that like
the rodeo one, the cowboy one.
Oh, like Valentina, my housemate, came in, knows nothing about games, and was like, "What is this?" Because like this is my pal. He looks like Zorro, but he's a chicken.
Yeah, he's got
like, holy shit, this looks
looked amazing. No, so I walked out into the open world itself just to walk around, as I do anytime I go into it. I like to walk it a little bit just to get a feel for it. But it was playing that like the Corel theme, the real like subdued, everyone's sad kind of music that it's like a mix of the one that you get when you get to town. And I was like, hey, having fun, blah blah blah, this is great. And then the moment I walked out into that, I was like, shit, we're following Sephiroth, like head in gear.
I still felt like the music was quite uplifting
in the best way. I don't mean that as a negative. I mean, okay, we're back to like, all right, holiday's over, boys. We have a job to do here. And I thought that was just so good. That transition.
Odd, though. For me, the whole game feels like a holiday, and the characters are far happier than in the original game. Yeah. Especially for where they are now. Like, because there's so much tragedy in the first game. Biggs, Wedge, Jesse, like the families of everyone, and that like the characters should be really upset all the time. Yeah. But they are not. Like,
no, they're all having
clearly
a blast.
Out having a good time. Like, and in the original game, it was only Eric doing that, but now that's rubbed off on everyone else, and so even Cloud is enjoying even the banter between them. Like Cloud is like, yeah, I'm curious. Are your feet magic, Nanaki?
I'll give you the foot massage to see what you can. Because Cloud's like, I'm kind of curious, even though he's like the real chill one or the real like.
Never comment and stuff like that, but he's
being
roped in. Like it just feels like the characters are vibing off each other, and like
which is great. It's like I love and I'm quite interested. That's what I mean about Kate Sith, Catchy, whatever you want to call him. Him coming into the fold, like I was like, how are they all going to interact with Yuffie? And it's been fun so far. How are they all going to interact with this?
I mean, Yuffie's a good character. Her ninjutsu arts are great and stuff like that. I still like, if I was to say who's my least favorite character to play as, it's definitely Red 13, because
interesting.
I feel like I'm just standing there holding R1.
My least favorite.
I'm like, this is not fun.
My least favorite at the minute, and I'm kind of sad by it because I enjoyed playing as him in remake. Is Barrett. Yeah, I think Barrett has a lot less. I think a lot of the characters have had more stuff to do. Tifa hasn't got more to do, but her character build
was just great.
It's so important. Whereas Barrett, I feel like just hasn't developed like the rest of them have in a way.
Plus, I feel like, I mean, there's one of the abilities now that lets you use your triangle attack automatically. Yeah. And since I have Barrett able to do that, I don't need to switch to him anymore, because I used to always switch him to use the overdrive so that like his ATB would be higher. Yeah. But now because his character auto does that, I'm like, I'll just let him
he'll look after himself. Yeah. I suppose we'll go on to that bit next, seeing as we got there. I mean, like, we are jumping around here, but this is just the first impressions or whatever. So the battle, the combat, are you having fun?
At first I was like, okay, it seems to be very much like the original game, because I mean the very first boss I think is the Midgar Zorm, so like that's a good 10 hours maybe into if you did all the side stuff, which I did. Yeah. So I hadn't seen a single synergy attack because the bad guys just keep dying, and like you're a little like that resets each time, so it's not like you can fight a few battles and then get your synergy. Like it has to be a long fight in order to do it. Yeah. But once I start pulling off a few of those, like with the Midgar Zorm and then Elena Rue, like they were just such great boss fights added to the new abilities that you had in combat that I was like, this is so freaking cinematic.
So
like,
cinematic.
Because Elena and Rude were doing team-up attacks, and then I would use team-up attacks against them to counter what they're doing, and I was like, look at this, we're all amazing.
I think what I'm so excited about this game is my hard mode playthrough when I eventually get to it, because I think with the synergy, judging by the material that we're getting as we go, and as you said, you and me are barely halfway maybe in terms of the storyline.
And a lot of my stuff isn't even leveled up once yet, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes it's like 5,000 AP. I'm like, I may as well just get rid of that because I'm never going to level up.
But I think what they're doing is, judging by like the auto moves, like the auto ability moves and the auto cast moves, like the material that you can get, and they've only been coming in the last 2 areas. I think if you equip them to your characters, they're using those moves the moment they become available, and therefore their pips are growing. So I think as the game goes on, I think we'll find synergy moves coming up more commonly because of the way depending if you build your character right, I think.
I do switch characters constantly though.
Oh, you have to, man. It's just too much fun not to.
I like that it, like, because the synchro or the whatever it's called, because I mean I allowed my girlfriend to play, and she basically be Cloud constantly because she was just doing all the damage, and she would switch to the others just to use the ATB, and then that was it. I was like, man, Cloud is clearly the best character. Like, you know, he can do everything by himself. But in this, it's great that like it rewards you for using the other characters, like, you know, and building up the bars and then unleashing those amazing looking attacks.
The whole fight, like if you have a whole boss fight, it's like you're just building the whole time you're fighting. It's you're building your characters. It's like, I need to use these ATB moves to get my pips up, because if I stagger him and use my synergy move that will build the stagger during a stagger, and then I'll get Tifa ready with her unbridled strength so she can release it. It's the whole fight is entertaining and cinematic as hell, but it's a whole strategy build the entire time to this accumulation, and it's so satisfying every time it happens. You get your boss on like the second stagger, you've got to limit a couple of moves just
sometimes you use a synchro attack, and like as soon as it ends you just go straight into your limit, like, and
that's end fight, that last move of the limit break gives you to the cutscene of the boss dying, and it is every single time so satisfying, so satisfying. Such an enjoyable game.
I think that I fought like 10 bosses, 9 of which were incredible boss fight. The only dud was your favorite.
Yes. Well, I mean, I agree with you in terms of, I thought that Valkyrie fight, or the new custom Valkyrie was what this one was called. It was a boring landscape, like we were just in a square place.
It was a helipad.
It was a helipad, and it really didn't have a whole lot. Like, the music was still amazing.
It was an odd place,
but the music didn't.
Encounter.
That boss didn't. I know it's that boss's theme, but that boss didn't deserve the music in this game.
I get what you mean by that.
Like,
there was no tension there.
No, there wasn't at all. I was like, this is a fairly bog standard fight. Like, if you had that music playing when we were fighting the Midgar Zolan or whatever else, it'd be unbelievable. So I'm very much looking. I hope that's not the only time we get the Valkyrie theme, because
I wouldn't say so.
The moment I played that boss fight, although it's a real low one, like it's not a good boss fight, I was having the best time, because the music was so good.
Like, compared to the first game, it's a great boss fight, but I mean, in this, just the boss fights are so intricate with there's some, nearly all of them have several changeovers, like at half health or 20% health, where like it unlocks new moves, or there's a sequence where like there's an anime battle happening, like a cutscene, and then it goes back in, whereas that one just didn't
have anything. It was kind of a filler one as well, just to kind of delay you, so Shinra could go off and do whatever they're doing in that part of the story. I'll ask you before we do our conclusion on this, what's your current team setup? What are your teams?
You've
got 3 parties.
I have 3 parties, but like I don't invest in, like, basically if I press X and R1 and switch party, my materia doesn't change at all. I just have like kind of the one group that I like to switch, and it annoys me that they did the 3 party system, because I'd much prefer just to have one party and have a button on either side to swap one person out. Yeah. Because especially as you get more characters, like, there becomes very few combinations you can do with only 3. So I can have Tifa and Barrett and Nanaki and Eret, and then maybe Cloud, Tifa and Yuffie, but then I can't have a different combination other than that, without having to manually switch. So I don't. Generally, I'll just stick with the 3 and then swap the other 2 as I go. Which I much prefer, unless you could unlock more loadouts, like if there was 5 or 6. But I think they got it wrong with the having 3 parties. I wish there was just R1 switch Tifa, L1 switch Barrett, you know, that type of thing.
Just switch one person in and out. You know,
like having to go to the menu to swap it all around is just not good.
And because you do it, at least I have been doing it quite a lot. It's not a thing where I have settled on any team.
Because I just want to use the different characters, even though I love that no matter who's in your party, they're all getting the experience and they're all getting the AP.
Yeah.
And they're all there. They're all right behind you.
And what was great about that was, because one of my fears was watching the trailers and everything, was that they just, like, let's say I had, you know, Cloud, Aerith, Tifa on the team, early game. I thought I'd just see Red and Barrett in the background not doing anything, but they actually engage and they've dialogue.
The people who are talking aren't in your party. They're further back.
I have heard so many times. I
love that.
Yeah,
because I was worried that I'm going to have to play this game 10 times to hear everything.
But you will, regardless, you're going to hear it all.
And that was a lie. Whoever had said like it was character specific dialogue in the quests, that's nonsense.
It is nonsense.
Every quest is very much character specific, regardless of if
and that character will be there whether or not you have them on your team for combat. That character will be leading the way in
like the side quest. There's always one side quest for each character in each region. Like, and by the third region, there is like ones that don't have a character specific. Like I went on another date, not in Cosmo Canyon, and because of who they picked for me, I was like, okay, that was chosen based on the whole dislike meter that they have going. You know, which is an interesting mechanic that they have. I must say. A couple of times I've reset the game because I didn't get the outcome I wanted. Like, do you remember when you're choosing your swimsuit in... in
Costa del Sol,
But when the two girls come down, they're like, hey, what do you think of my swimsuit? Cloud got all flustered with Tifa, and I was like, what the hell? Why would that? What? And I reset the game immediately. I was like having none of that.
Because you're all about making sure you get Aerith on that date.
Yes, I have to make sure that like it's me. And
I
Aerith
think my relationship thing with everybody at the minute is I think Tifa is my strongest one.
Nice.
But almost out of I haven't been trying for that at all. I've just kind of been letting the game play out. My hard
I have
playthrough
been mostly, but when there was two girls came towards me and all of a sudden Tifa was the one Cloud was gushing over. Yeah, that was like that. I could not allow that.
You're like, I'm gonna fling this thing out
like,
off my balcony.
Is bullshit.
No, it's been nice because it's one of those things where it's been quite organic. But I will say is that the game definitely puts you with Tifa and Aerith a lot more than any other characters for those kind of scenarios because both of their relationships are far more grown, judging by the certain things than I have with Barrett or Red or Yuffie's.
There are a lot of like scenes with just Tifa and Aerith as well, which is good. But like they're clearly good friends and growing as friends.
And I love that.
Really
like
nice
I love that they've done that as well. I guess we'll probably leave it there.
We just gotta go back and start playing again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're just gonna.
I'm going straight back. I'm going with the gold saucer tonight. I can't wait.
It's gonna be so good. Your conclusions and a ballpark.
Here we didn't touch on because I love it so much, but the game isn't without issues.
Absolutely.
In terms of visually, I think it's a step back technically from Remake because of how linear that game was and like all the stuff like the smoke and the lighting was done perfectly.
Yeah.
Whereas in this game, it can be choppy. The water effects don't look good, I don't think.
No, but what I will, and it's not really a defense, but I guess it's like that because of its scope, I guess.
Yes. And for me, you can make it bigger and make it look worse. I don't mind because from a distance everything is gorgeous. Yeah. It's only up close you start to go,
under
that's
the
kind
microscope.
of a picture of water with just lines going.
Yeah. No, I think what I was going to say was in terms of I'd give the game myself at this moment in time, based off the amount of time that I've played it, a very solid 9.5-ish out of 10. Yeah. My worry for the game, we're talking about criticism so far.
It's going to be story related.
Fucking story related, yeah. I have come across a couple of characters thus far who I'm like, oh, this is some bullshit. Like, this is some stupid ass. Like, we got who's going to be one of the main characters for some fucking reason is from that mobile game that just came out, last year, Ever Crisis, whatever it is.
And who was in that annoyed you?
Glenn.
The Colonel fella?
Lodbrok, the Viceroy who meets Rufus.
Was he in one of those games?
He was in the mobile game Ever Crisis,
shit. Because when I saw him, I was like, oh, cool, a Wu-Tai guy. He doesn't sound Japanese.
No, he's a Shinra dude who was like, I won't ruin it for you. Okay. I'm sure the game will do a great job of not confusing us with these characters.
Because when I saw him, I was like, oh, who's this guy? Because we never get much from Wu-Tai, so I got excited by that.
I think he joined, I think judging by, because we haven't finished the story, because Ever Crisis, the mobile game, releases all of its stuff in chapters, so we still haven't gotten to the end of that guy's storyline. It's still, what happened with it? But judging by everything, he becomes disillusioned with Shinra and goes over to Wu-Tai. But
it's all about the journey, as they say, right?
Exactly.
And the journey so far is just full of fun, full of mini games, full of great combat, full of great visuals, just really exciting moments, great gameplay, and like, what's the word when like peace of mind, but not that the ease of access or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff with the chocobo, climbing and being able to do stuff on the fly.
It's been designed to have, like, it's been a game that's been designed for people to just have fun with.
Yeah.
Like, there's a story there, and it's, you know, the characters will have their conflicts as time goes on. We've already seen that a little bit with Cloud and Tifa, but for the most part, everyone's just having a rocking good time. Me playing it as well, you know.
What I find most crazy, and maybe they should have been doing Final Fantasy sequels all along, because the step up is huge, whereas Final Fantasy 16 is a much worse game because Rebirth exists, you know?
Yeah.
Like, my review score for 16 would drop drastically now based on this game having come out, because I was comparing it to Remake, which was from 2020.
But
and yet this game, like, 16 only came out, 6 months ago?
Yeah.
And this game coming out 6 months later,
I mean,
feels like it's 10 years later
16,
from 16.
Oh, yeah, but was it summer of last year or something like that, June or last year?
I think it was only 6 months ago, right?
Yeah, give or take. Yeah, well, yeah, summer last year, so about 6 months ago. Yeah, well, it feels like longer maybe. But what I'm glad is I'm glad we got Final Fantasy 15. I'm glad we got Final Fantasy 16. I'm glad we got Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3 all before this came out, because this game has learned, and I don't mean storyline Kingdom Hearts bullshit. I mean combat wise, where it's going with that and the balance in combat. Like, it's taken all the good things, like all of the story based character shit. You can see it's evident from 16 how they've gotten better at that kind of stuff.
Massively.
And then that 15 had really good ideas for the open world, but never executed it as much. And here we have 7 Rebirth.
I mean, I don't know. I'm playing it on that adjusted difficulty, the one after
dynamic, same as myself.
Which there's been a lot of tricky fights I've had so far. So I've been like, this is great. Like, it's keeping you on your toes.
Yeah.
And especially in a game like in 16, eventually on the normal difficulty, every enemy was a pushover because I was doing side content. Whereas this levels up the bad guys with you. And
I was relieved because I had it on dynamic mode for ages and 100% of the grasslands. And by the time I got into Junon, I felt like I was whooping everything. But now I'm at a stage where I'm like, oh, actually, no, the game has it. I can see the balance coming up with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the game is fantastic. Probably one of the greatest games I've ever played.
Same.
My only nerves are the wacky story part. But stuff, I made my bed with that a long time ago. I was like,
I'm kind of cool
OG7
that
exists. That original storyline exists. This I'm just here for the ride, you know.
And I would like to, fuck it. What's the point of it being the same? Because anytime there's a scene that is a little different, I'm always on the edge of my seat to see what they're going to say. You know,
absolutely.
So I'm kind of like, no, go on, just do it. Whatever.
It is. It's like for us OG Final Fantasy 7 fans and people who played the game. We don't want to have a thing where we just play through and it's the exact same the whole way through. It's like it's entertaining for us, and we don't know what's going to happen. You know, great stuff.
Big time.
Craig, thanks so much for hopping on about this. I feel like it's so funny. We're like 50 odd minutes in, and I feel like we have just tipped the surface of this game.
And I was trying so hard not to spoil anything, but like even with the stuff we have said, it's not specific. And plus, we were going all over the place.
Yes.
We weren't going start to finish in anything we were saying there.
No.
So like even things we've said like could easily be the start or the end. Or whatever,
exactly.
Like, you know?
My advice to anybody who was on the fence about getting this game or playing this game: play this fucking game.
Okay, if you're a fan of just video games, then you'll love Remake. You should love Remake.
Rebirth.
But Rebirth is even better.
Yes.
But you should play Remake first. But if you have played OG Final Fantasy 7, then you will love this game.
Yeah.
Because the nods to it, even the music, the way it comes in softly and things like that, it's made with nostalgia in mind massively. Like it's like the nostalgia they put at the top, and we're like, how can we make you feel?
It feels like people like you and me were part of the development team.
It really does.
It feels like the people were like, oh, these guys have got some good ideas, let's throw them in there, because so much of it is what I think you or me would want in this game. Yeah, it's a work of art so far, and I'm so excited that I'm 35 hours in and probably about 40% of the way through the game. I'm so excited for how much is left.
What's crazy, like based on where I am in the game and based on where this part starts in the timeline, like you can definitely get from, I'd say, Cam to Coral in maybe 2 to 3 hours.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yet you're like 35
hours is what it's taken me, and I didn't even do anything in the Coral open world, like, you know, crazy shit. Craig, thank you so much for joining me. We're going to hop on and do a post show. We'll be looking at our first episode of the new season of the Battle Royale, and keeping in theme, we're going to debate the Cloud fight, because we're talking about Final Fantasy 7. So if you like that, check out patreon.com/thegiftofgaming, and to our listeners, as always and forever, keep enjoying the gift that is gaming. Peace out.